Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Tech Informist. This is episode 68, recorded live on Monday, May the 11th, 2015. My name is Kevin Arvell. I'm joined by good friend and co-host Brad Whiteside. Brad, how are you doing today?
Pretty good, Kevin. How about you?
Doing really good. And we're also joined today by a guest here from St. Louis who is known in radio and also has their own website and radio show and translate that also into a podcast. We're joined today by Mark Bland. Mark, how are you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic, Kevin. Thank you so much for having me. I apologize if you hear some noises in the background. My 3-year-old son will probably be winging footballs and everything else past our heads as we discuss them. So nice. I do apologize if you see or hear that.
It happens. The joys of parenthood.
Oh, yeah.
The joys of parenthood.
But thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Yes, you are very welcome. So for those of you who are tuning in for the first time, The Tech Informist is a show about technology, typically consumer-focused, smartphones, etc., just general technology. And The Tech Informist, we try to inform and educate listeners such as yourselves on the growing and ever-changing world of technology. So you can join in with the show at thetechinformist.com/live. You can also connect with us on Twitter at Tech Informist, Facebook as well, Google+, Instagram. Just simply search for Tech Informist. And if you've got any future guest suggestions or topics or any feedback you would like to give, simply send that to contact@thetechinformist.com. So let's go ahead and move into the news of the day. And this first story that I want to kind of touch on was something that actually Mark shared on his Facebook feed. And, we're friends on Facebook, and I saw that, and I thought, oh, my God, that is it's a great story, something that, I've thought of in the past, but I hadn't thought of in a while because, it is 2015. And it is in relation to approximately 2.1 million people still use AOL, dial-up internet connection, for their internet connectivity. How they connect with the world is through a dial-up connection of all things. Now, this story actually comes from CNN Money, and it's just very interesting. Now, I thought about queuing up a nice little dial-up internet tone to play during this video recording, but I think I'm actually going to throw that in there during the audio post-editing here. So if you're listening to the audio, you probably just got done hearing that. So, Mark, what was it about the story that made you want to post it? And I'm glad that you did.
I have a joke. I have a joke that I like to talk about on the radio show. We bring it up quite often. We talk about how you can listen to The Q, which is my radio show. If you go to theqnow.com, that's the website and all that. But we discuss in there how we can get to it via Lycos, the web crawler, the Mosaic, basically the archaic ways of the internet circa 15 to 20 years ago. And we discuss that in full volume all the time on the show. And one time about 4 years ago, there was a story about AOL discs and how we used to all get AOL discs, 2,500 free minutes and this, that, and the other, and how it was a beautiful thing, and that now we have high-speed internet and life has moved on in general. But what blew my mind and what made me post the story is specifically the fact that AOL discs don't exist anymore. I use the archaic forms of the Mosaic and the Netscapes and all that as a joke, and then to come to find out now I know somebody who has an AOL email address still, but they still have high-speed charter internet or whatever it is. They just have the access to that AOL. To find out that there are literally people that still... Now, if you remember, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sorry to cut my tangent, if you remember, AOL was designed at a time that CompuServe and Prodigy and those dial-up internet services that were literally their own style. This is back when BBSs were popular, back when I first got into computing in the early 90s, late 80s. Literally, I would dial into somebody else's modem at their house. I had a 14.4, they had a 2400 baud modem. We would get to do text-based ASCII games on there.
And that was awesome.
It was so mind-blowing. It was like the movie Hackers, but still 2 years to 3 years before Hackers was even something that they could CGI and create to make look cool. And my point was that if you had AOL, it was just a rudimentary bulletin board system, which eventually became a backbone to the internet. which people would like log into AOL, and then if they wanted to web browse through their proprietary browsers, they could. And then eventually people got beyond all of that. We went to high speed, AT&T, Uverse, Charter, where we're at today. And then like all these services like the AOLs went away. To find out that there's 2.1 million people that still use dial-up and a backbone service like AOL is ridiculous. Did they not realize that Net Zero came out in like 2001? And they could have got it all for free. They didn't even need AOL or to pay the monthly service fee.
Right.
And to think my friend, like I said, has the AOL email address still. It's not like he's paying for it. He just has it now.
Right. Yeah,
I
it's
don't
pretty much just
understand. This blows my mind.
Yeah. That is, I mean, like I was telling you off air and in other times, my dad still had AOL up to last August. But, in the area that he lives in is, his only option is satellite internet or to get an air card from, AT&T or Verizon. And like friend Joel Jackson in the chat here says, he lives up in Alaska. A fair percentage of these people are actually in Alaska. Well, we kind of know there's a lot of, the whole Sarah Palin and the whole tundra and all that. It just these areas that are not built up enough. And that's one of the downsides, I think, in the United States, where when you look at something like Europe, it's more condensed, where everybody like lives on top of each other. So it's easier to have these, these crazy high speeds, or like China, you have super, super high speed access because it's just easier to deploy in those tight areas. Where in the United States, it's such a wide range, just so much open country in the Midwest and even Northwest. It's just crazy to think that many people are still using this.
Well, I would assume that probably a lot of these users are possibly paying for AOL without knowing it, or they think they have to maintain their account to keep that email address like I was telling you.
Right.
Like, I would assume that that's a potential on this.
Oh, I'm sure there's a lot of people that they just never canceled it, and, we got Uverse or we've got Charter, and
from
they
what I
just
know,
never canceled AOL, and they don't even really realize that the $10, $20 a month is just sitting there being charged to their card.
Yeah, and they have, AOL, I think, still exists as a company that has a high-speed access. Like, they do high-speed access, like we're talking about. I'm interested, Brad, what is your opinion, being a much younger individual than myself and Kevin, i.e., but you grew up, like, at a time period where when you were a young kid, AOL was like, it was kind of on its outs back then. Like, you were in 5th, 6th grade, and AOL was kind of going out, and that's when your most formative years of the internet were coming in.
Yeah, I mean, I remember getting magazines in, and you'd flip through to like the center of the book, and there'd be the disc for the AOL, or you'd get the little metal. You'd get the little metal tin, and it'd have the AOL in it. I'd use those for coasters in my room, but just seeing this, I still can't believe the numbers. I mean, I sort of can, because, for instance, my fiance's parents had dial-up till about 2013, and we finally got them DSL, but it was only like 3 megs DSL. We finally got them this year to switch to Charter from DirecTV, so they could bundle all their services, save a bunch of money, great stuff. But I mean, now they're up to 100 megs, and just like us. And I mean, it's like, welcome to the 21st century. You can now do things on the internet that you could never have done on that 3 meg service, or dial-up for that matter.
I think that it's a very typical thing, though. I think, like you said, the idea that this generation that's like me and Kevin being the age we are, and like Brad, you're a few years behind us, so like you're that completely technologically informed generation. Like that's who you guys are, the people that are around your age. And for guys like me and Kevin, we were that crossover generation. We're the ones who remember what Pong was like and Atari back in the early days, and having a home phone where you couldn't call after a certain time or before a certain time because it would ring the whole house and wake people up, so you just didn't do that, to where now we naturally crossed over growing up in middle school and high school into this, here's this guy named Steve Jobs and here's this guy named Bill Gates, and they're creating this idea and this is going to be the next thing, and look at how this is all going. And then we get to you guys, which is just like, this was our whole life the whole time. We've always had cell phones. We've always had email addresses. We've always had high-speed internet. Boom. Call it a day. You know what I'm saying? Your first video game system was already PS2. You know what I'm saying? Like, done.
Nintendo Entertainment System for me,
Well,
actually.
sure, if you're one of those people who goes back and wants to, like, oh, what year were you born? 88? 87? 88. Okay. In 1988, we were already on the cusp of the Super Nintendo.
We were.
Like, we were already going, oh, that's old. We're looking for Super Mario World and Link to a Past, you know?
Right, yeah.
So.
Yeah, I got my first system when I was 3, if that says anything to how much I like video games.
Fair enough.
And I've had pretty much every Nintendo system since they came out, up to like the Wii U, because I guess I kind of grew up a little and I'm more of an Xbox guy now. So, and I also have my gaming PC, which is what I'm using to do the show. So,
what always blows my mind is like literally how rudimentary they were when I was 3 years old. We're talking like 1978, 79. How rudimentary the games are and how geeked. Like if you pulled up, remember when the Nokia phones came out, Brad and Kevin? Remember they had Snake?
Snake,
you could play
yep.
Snake on the phone.
That game.
Okay, we love that game, right? We thought it was the greatest thing in the whole wide world. We would get geeked out on Snake. To the same effect and level, when we saw Pitfall, or what am I thinking of?
Pac-Man or
Is it Pitfall?
no,
Yeah, there's a Pitfall game.
Yeah, Pitfall.
was
That's what I'm
great.
talking about. Like where he's running the snakes, the alligators.
Yeah.
Pitfall, right? Yeah.
Oh,
When we
right,
saw
right.
Pitfall, it blew our minds. We thought it was the greatest thing since sliced bread. We just the idea of missiles coming down in Missile Command and us shooting them missiles down was like super geeky stuff like that. If we looked at a game of Snake on a Nokia phone today, we'd be like, this is the most boring piece of trash ever.
Oh yeah,
I mean, I wouldn't say everybody, but I would say most of us just look at that and go, ugh.
There's actually a developer getting ready to remake the game. I don't know if they're adding flair to it or not, but they're looking to remake it. I think
there's a ton of 8-bit games that they should remake, honestly.
Oh, right. I mean, they can
Tons of them.
easily run on the phones now compared to, 10 years ago, 5 years ago.
yeah, and the thing about those 8-bit games, or even like some of the original Nintendo games, if you were to give those to kids today, they would get so frustrated and throw their controllers within 5 minutes.
Hey, some of those games are hard. You ever play Battletoads? Holy crap.
Yeah, Battletoads.
Oh yeah,
insanely.
Battletoads was a very difficult game.
It was
Insanely.
very difficult
Which,
for
by
a
the
kid
way,
at
you were
5
born-
and 6, too.
Were you born yet when that came out? Battletoads was that? I mean, you might have been 2. 90?
Yeah, it was, I don't know, our grandma, she used to go to yard sales a lot, which most, grandparents
Which,
kinda
by the
do.
way, I'm not trying to make fun of Brad's age. That is not what I'm trying to say here. I'm literally just trying to showcase the differences in generations.
Right. But, so she would actually go, to these yard sales, and they'd have, like, these big things, just tubs of cartridges, and she just would buy all the games because they were, like, 10 cents a piece. So, I mean, we had a pretty a decent amount of game cartridges. I just can't remember like how long ago that was because it feels to me like it was a long time ago. But I mean, yeah, we had Battletoads. We had something called Bucky O'Hare. I don't know if you guys have heard.
Yeah,
of
with
that.
with rabbit like out in space or rabbit and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, that was
River
a
City
very
Ransom was my jam, dude.
Oh, River City. Yeah, I like Double Dragon. Double Dragon.
Oh yeah, D&D. Oh yeah. Oh well.
But yeah, I just I don't know. Battletoads was it's the first game that comes to mind when I think of a hard game from my childhood, at least.
Yeah.
When I think of a hard game from my childhood, the first thing that pops to mind is there was a game called Journey Escape on the Atari. It was a game that was designed where it was the music of Journey put into a video game, and the whole point was that you had to like move this spaceship. For me, it was super difficult. Just the most difficult thing in the world. So when I think of a difficult game, that's the first thing that pops in my mind.
Yeah.
What about you, Kevin? What do you got? Snake.
No, not Snake. For some reason, Castlevania, the original Castlevania on
I
NES.
love Castlevania. Favorite game series of all time.
Now, I can play the very first one and get all the way through, and it's the enemy before Dracula. I cannot remember off the top of my head which one that is, but I have never been able to beat that character.
Could be Death. I'm not sure.
I
The
can't,
one that always stuck out for me for Castlevania is the Simon's Quest, the second one, Castlevania
Yes.
2. The one where it goes night to day and all that stuff. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, also we had a few cartridges of that, but I would say to the effect that you said you one of your favorite games of all time. I actually really liked Metroid.
Love.
And
Metroid,
all the
great.
series through. I mean, from NES and up. I mean, I went through and I beat all of them. I really enjoy them, and they're very Castlevania-esque. In fact,
They call them Metroidvania games.
yeah, Metroidvanias for a reason, exactly.
Yeah,
And-
well, here's the thing. I think that those games, and Cave Story just a couple of years ago when it came out, proved my point that I made on my show, which was those platformer RPG style games where you like crawl through a massive maze, you're looking for specific power-ups to make your guy better and better as you get closer to the end.
Right.
Literally, in my opinion, provide the most and best gameplay. It's not over-the-top 3D graphics, like trying to get, like, it's a very simple platformer style, but at the same point, it gives you this increased need to, like, try to get this or get that or get whatever. You know what I'm saying? I love those style of games.
So
I
to
think they're
that,
the best ones.
yeah, and to that point, Ori and the Blind Forest proved that this year for the Xbox One. It was a Metroidvania style, but it took about
What's it called again?
Ori and the Blind Forest.
Yeah, ORI, I believe.
Yeah, ORI. Ori and the Blind Forest. That was an Xbox One and I believe PC. Like kind of what do you call it?
Port.
Escape. Yeah,
Games.
no, not a
Games
port.
for Windows.
An app?
They only just came for those systems.
Right.
Sorry, it's Monday. My brain's a little weird today, but they only came for those systems, and I mean, it just even only selling on those two systems, it's apparently done very well, and there will be a second one from what I've heard. So, I mean, if that says anything, you know, all these years later, after Metroid, after Castlevania, people still enjoy those games. It seems now that like game genres aren't dying, but they're either being revamped in cycles. Like look at now this is kind of a funny example, but look at Guitar Hero and Rock Band. They're getting ready to re-release those again.
I don't know why. I really don't. I think that there was a fad that came and went. Kind of like the Pet Rock.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I never got into them, but there are a substantial amount of people that really enjoy those games,
Sure.
and they'll get together on, you know, and do like almost couch
There are people
co-op.
that like sequence-style games. They like the simplicity of a sequence, and if you can do the sequence, it's Simon. Remember Simon when we were growing up?
right.
It's Simon. It's the four colors and do them in order. That's it. That's what
Yeah.
it is.
That's what it is. Only instead of a big round.
Rock Band was the one where you used real guitar, though, right?
No,
was
that's
One was that
it
used real
Guitar
guitars.
Smith or yeah.
Guitar Stars. Okay.
Yeah,
That's where you really wanted to accomplish something, because then you could take that offline and apply it potentially.
Yeah, you can actually really learn to play guitar with Guitar Smith.
Yeah.
Just real quick as we transition to the next story, if you go to AOL.com, it looks like Yahoo now. It's just all, you know, news. You got news, sports, entertainment, lifestyle, finance, weather, videos. It's not the AOL of old. So I honestly couldn't even tell you where you would have to go to sign up for AOL dial-up service. So just want to throw that little tidbit out there. Pretty wild. It's been so long since I've actually been to AOL. That's interesting to see what it has transformed to.
actually I haven't either.
Yeah, it does. It's got a picture of Osama bin Laden on the cover, but you're right. It looks a lot like a Yahoo Google style. Just,
Yeah.
I think they all went to this. There was no reason for it, and Google just seems to be the one that like capitalized the most off of it.
Right.
Beyond that,
Sort of reminds me of like Gizmodo or BGR.
Yeah.
well, they're all trying to use these darn modern fonts and these specific stylistic. Because here's the thing, it looks aesthetically pleasing on a MacBook.
Right.
Which, don't get me wrong, I like Apple. I like. I talked about it on STL Tech Talk. Like I like
Yes.
I like Apple. I like Windows. I like them all. But like we've got to get past this aesthetics crap and start moving into the real life of applicable things. Okay.
Functionality.
Remember popularity. We were talking about this before the show started, ladies and gentlemen. Popularity versus the really smart guy. You know what I'm saying? Like, who cares about popularity? Let's let the really smart person do the things. So let's stop worrying about the aesthetics of looks and start looking about the application and its usefulness. That's my purpose.
Yeah, definitely. All right, Brad. So let's go ahead and talk a little bit about your next story here about turning off your electronics during air flight.
Yeah, so this caught my attention because I always thought that this was ridiculous. But appeals court ruled that your electronics can stay on in flight. Go figure. Back in 2013, the FAA saw sense and ruled that passengers can use their electronic devices, while taking off and landing. Well, the Association of Flight Attendants sued, and, well, they tried to appeal, and they lost again. So guess what, guys? You can use your electronics during, takeoff and landing, and it's not going to crash the plane or anything like that. So
it never was going to crash the plane. That's why you didn't like it, Brad. It was never going to crash the plane.
Right.
Listen, you know what my problem that I have nowadays is? Everybody with their dang service dogs and their service animals that need to go on the plane. So here I am in a first class or a coach ticket, right? And then next to me is Bobo, who's a Pomeranian, and Bobo has to be there with Brenda. And Bobo and Brenda have to be there together so Bobo can bark the entire flight and then poop in the middle of the aisle. Just to turn my plane around an hour and a half into it and send us right back to St. Louis to clean the plane, to turn around and take another hour and a half to get back to where we were at.
Right.
That's a real problem. You know what's not a problem? Me checking a text message while I'm sitting strapped in to a plane that's going to take me 500 miles an hour, flying through the skies, and the potential that it could go awry and things could crash to the ground.
Right. And unless the airplane actually has Wi-Fi, you're out of cell service signal anyway. You cannot get text messages, and so it just doesn't happen. Unless your airplane has Wi-Fi. You're not going to get any messages, nothing. It's just there to listen to music and watch a movie you've got stored locally on your device.
I think we bring these things up, ladies and gentlemen. I really believe this, Kevin and Brad. We bring these things up just to create obstacles for ourselves in life. Mm-hmm. We really do. Like we get emotional about something, and we just happen to have someone in our power that has a little juice. They take that emotion, they run with it, they create this rule and this law. Like, okay, it's 2015. It's not 2001 anymore, right? You go to the airport, you still are controlled, like 3-4 ounce bottles of whatever and stuff like that. That's the most you can bring of shampoo and this, that, and the other.
Yeah, little bitty bottle.
Right. And the argument is, oh, it's terrorism. If you bring a razor blade, just a regular razor blade, like a Bic throwaway razor blade, right? If you bring it with you, that's obviously going to be used to knock down an entire flight door, get in there, kill everyone, and then take the plane down. Yeah, if that's your purpose, but what if I'm the guy who doesn't have that as a purpose, and it just happens to be there while those dudes are doing that? Now I can use that to my advantage to take them down.
Right.
It's this idea that everyone's always out to kill and hurt and maim and just the worst things, and that's not how we are as people. Brad, when was the last time you were walking down the street and you decided that you wanted to hurt or kill someone?
Never.
Never, exactly. Do you know why? Because it just doesn't happen. That's my point. It's logic, guys. It's just logic. It's like Portal, right? Where you throw the circles where you show up.
Right. I think media has a lot to do with that too, like the maybe specific things that people watch. I feel that they fine-tune that, towards their audience, and that's where some of that comes up too. But that's just, I guess, my opinion.
Nice.
No, that's fine. Media is definitely a part of this. But it also really comes down to the logic of the individuals too. If you're smart enough, Brad, to sit there and go, media is a part of this, then you're also smart enough to turn the media aspect off and only filter the things that are important out of the media.
Right.
We have a lot of people that don't do that. They don't filter those things.
Anything
and so therefore they're the problem. It's called Fox News. We all know what it's called. They just don't filter anything out. Like, remember, everything's an alert. It's an alert spinning in the bottom corner of their... It's an alert! This is what happened today. A preschooler peed at the graduation. Why do they let preschoolers pee at graduation? Ah, like that. Everything's an alert. Because those people don't have that filter like you and me and other people that are watching this show. Guys like Elon Musk have that filter. We go, that's stupid. Oh, that's important. I'll pay attention to the important stuff. Stupid stuff goes by the wayside.
Right. Just completely ignore it. Never happened. Oh, yeah. All right. So... moving on, Google Play.
By the way, Fox News is Kevin's favorite, so that's why he's not a real big fan when I say those things.
Yeah, I'm not listening to you guys. I'm listening to Fox News right now. Google Play will soon be able to allow users to pre-register for upcoming app releases. Now, it's going to be something that a developer can do in the Play Store. They can kind of like set their, I guess, there's a little toggle here, and let you kind of pre-register, kind of like what you pre-order a game. And on Xbox One, Brad, I'm sure you're familiar with it. When you pre-order a game, you can go ahead and essentially download it, a week or so before the game even launches. And then when it is available, you just hit, the play button just goes live, and then you can just start playing it. So I thought this was really interesting to see for, what Android users are going to be able to do. And you'll just get a little notification, hey, this game or this app that you've been looking forward to trying out, it is now available, and you'll get that little notification when it's ready.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I never really thought of doing something like that, which is obviously why I'm maybe not the head of Google's thing and doing that kind of thing. But yeah, it's kind of like you said. It's like pre-ordering a game, and you wait for it, and then the day it comes out, and then boom, it's there. The only thing that maybe worries me is so some apps, they'll get thought up and they'll do this thing, and maybe they put it out and like, hey, this is kind of the pre-order or whatever. What happens if they don't come out with it? I mean, does it charge your money then or now, or I wonder how that works.
Well, I'm sure it's pretty much just going to be like with big app developers. Like, for example, the use case that they used in this Android Central post about it was with the upcoming game for the Terminator Genesis Revolution. The new movie obviously is going to have a game associated with it. And the game developer is GLU, so I guess that's Glue Media. And, they do a lot of movie-based tie-in games.
Okay.
For that. And they do some really good work. So I'm thinking probably, the smaller, lesser-known apps
would be less likely to do that.
Yeah, but, something big like this where, Terminator, it's probably good. It's going to make plenty of money.
I even wonder, like, some even big developers run into problems, even financially, or just don't have enough people to fill the holes. I just wonder, I feel like it'll happen. And maybe not all the time, maybe not for first couple of years, but it might happen at some point where they'll put the thing out. It'll be a pre-order, but it doesn't come out. Do they just take the pre-order down and nobody gets charged, or do they get refund? I just curious about how that works and happens.
Yeah, with most of these games now, it's they'll come out, they're free, and then you have in-app purchases to access different levels, different features, and things like that. So I guess with this example, it's going to be for Glue. They're going to release this Terminator game for free, and if there's in-app purchases, then you deal with it then. But I would think that you're not going to get charged. It would just
there are a lot of games and whatnot that are free that you could still pre-order and it just kind of download as you're sleeping, kind of thing.
Right.
I feel like the app market and the games market is just so overwhelmingly deep at this point.
It is.
I think it's just so saturated. It's just, how do you get to the top of that? I just don't know. Like, you have to just have an inherent promotional success, or like you said, determine it. Like, you have to have a name value associated with it, or else you'll just not get to the top.
Right. Let's something like Flappy Birds that just gets all kinds of press coverage and that just becomes a self-sustaining thing.
Or the Meerkat and the Periscope. That came out of, what was that thing in Texas? South by
Southwest.
Yeah.
There's a value to Periscope. Like,
absolutely.
The other day, my wife, she heard the word on TV. We were watching something. She goes, "What is that?" I said, "Here, I'll show you." We found Michael Rappaport, the actor, right? He happened to be doing something live online with Periscope, right? So a lot of people say I look like Michael Rappaport, like from a side profile, and so like they see similarities between me and Michael Rappaport. So I was like, I showed her how I tweeted to Michael Rappaport, and he could answer live via the thing. And he goes, "Oh, Mark Bland, it says you look like me." Well, God bless you, Mark Bland, for looking like me. Like that. And then she was blown away, because here's a famous actor she's seen in movies saying my name and talking to her based off of this one little symbol. Periscope is a genius idea. Now, here's the problem. It's that whole Instagram versus Flip, or what was it? Vine. Remember when Vines came out?
Yeah,
Then
60-second
Instagram
videos.
decided that they were going to go and do video because they had the bump on the market, and then they turned around and switched that all up, and then it just went back to Vines being popular again. How did Meerkat not? How did Meerkat not maintain the hold? Because I feel like in our society today, we don't mind if there's combinations of things, but we like separate entities. Like we want Meerkat to be the big thing for this, Twitter to be the big thing for this, Instagram for this, Vines for this specifically. Like we want them all to have their own lane.
Right.
And Meerkat got beat out even though they were first to the punch.
Right. And now Meerkat is available on Android, and you can also tie that into Facebook, where Facebook users will be able to see when you're going live with a Meerkat.
I'm kind of surprised that Facebook doesn't invest money into Meerkat, being as Periscope is like Twitter's offshoot.
Well, with people like the people behind Meerkat, I'm sure this is just let's grow it and sell it.
Right.
That's kind of the business model, kind of like what Instagram did. But most of the Instagram founders and people that worked on it, once they were purchased by Facebook, they're still working with the company in a different capacity and just raking in the bucks. So I don't know. Right now, I still kind of lean more towards Periscope, just because I just like being notified, and I know Meerkat does it, but it seems like there's more people that I follow via Twitter that are actually using Periscope than are using Meerkat at the moment.
I haven't actually tried either service, obviously, because I'm on my Windows phone, but I suppose if I really wanted to, I could steal my fiance's iPhone.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you could always do that. And I don't know how much longer you're still going to have that G Flex 2, but you can at least play around with
Oh,
Meerkat.
that's true. Yeah.
You can at least play with Meerkat. You won't be able to use Periscope, unfortunately.
Right. Yeah, I might give that a shot.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and talk a little bit about Microsoft and their accidental tweet.
So Microsoft's been pretty good about not leaking, or things not leaking, such as Band, Surface, what have you. But every once in a while, something might slip through that somebody thought was okay, and it probably wasn't, and turns out this wasn't. But Microsoft accidentally tweets Verizon Lumia 735. If you know anything about the 735, obviously it's another mid-range. I know, it's terrible. But it's actually a really good phone for what it is, and I'm a little excited that this is coming to Verizon, because Verizon doesn't have, I don't think, any Windows phones right now, so they need something desperately. Now, I don't remember if it has wireless charging or any of the fancy stuff like that, but Paul Thurrott had a 735 for a while before he got his 930, and he thoroughly enjoyed that phone. So, for what it is, once again, it might be a viable option if you're, in Verizon and looking for a Windows phone, or just a cheap phone in general that works well. So this is exciting to hear that Verizon is getting more Windows phones.
It looks like it's got a removable back and micro SD card support. It actually kind of looks a lot like the 920 a little bit, with kind of the sharp corners but rounded edges.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say I don't think there's a removable back, because it's the full polycarbonate body, just like the 920.
Let me see. Nokia, however, includes a helpful sticker that shows you how to remove the back.
Oh, okay, cool.
Which is,
and we learned something.
It's not as easy to do as say the 830 or like an 820.
Oh, right, with the because it's got the aluminum band around it, and you can just kind of dig underneath that back piece.
Yeah, you got a few other little hoops you got to jump through to do it. It looks like you can.
Oh, well, that's excellent.
Yeah.
That
Camera-wise, it doesn't look too bad.
So that seems to be the way they're moving towards. Like the the rumored 940 and all the higher spec ones are supposed to have removable backs, which is interesting because Apple and Samsung are moving away from that model, where Microsoft is maybe moving more towards that. I just find that interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Removable backs, removable batteries. It's got a lot of.
What are we thinking size-wise on this thing?
That's a good question. And
Display is 4.7-inch display, so you're looking kind of iPhone 6-ish there.
yeah,
Right, because iPhone 6 Plus and everything above that is just ridiculous. Like literally holding like a pancake paddle next to your face. And I don't understand because there are people that I know that have these things that are literally this. Yeah, these things are huge. And like they're look at it, look, put it up next year, so everybody can see. Look how big that thing is. It covers his entire headphone muff, and then on top of it, it's down below his chin. The thing is massive, and they're sitting there going, "Oh, I love it, man. It's everything." I'm like, no, you don't love it. You don't love the fact that you've literally taken a MacBook Air and shoved it into your pocket, and it is literally just hanging there in a pair of basketball shorts. You don't love that.
Yeah, basketball shorts, man. These big phones do not do well.
Just
Drawstring, folks. Drawstrings.
It's just too much. Plus, what if you decide to go running, right? At least if I, with my iPhone, and I decide to go running, I could pocket it, put it in like a... Oh, by the way, did this roller coaster race thing. So many people with those armband things, you know, the armbands that hold the phone, and then they have different size ones for different size phones. This one dude had one of those Note 5s or Note 7s or whatever it is, and it's like, the thing is just like, literally, like, I should be able to program his arm for him to swing however I wanted to swing. It was
that
ridiculous.
reminds me of the Pip-Boy 3000 off of the Fallout series. I could just imagine him wearing it around the wrist like, oh, hey, instead of a smartwatch, I'm just going to have my smartphone attached to my wrist.
That's literally what they're doing, and it's like, do you guys know you look ridiculous? Once again, aesthetics, I understand, but let's work on just normalcy a little bit. I don't get it, guys. Kevin, really? I mean, you're the phone guy, Kev. Look, you're the phone guy. When I first met you, you're the phone guy. Where do you stand on these big-ass phones? That's what I want to know.
They've got their use place. I've got a 1520, the same as what Brad has there. It's not my daily driver at the moment.
It's not your daily driver, and why not?
Because I wanted to switch over and use the iPhone platform for a while.
Because you wanted to have a small enough phone to fit in your dang pocket like a normal human being.
But tell him what your thoughts on the iPhone versus the one you thought you should have gotten.
Yeah, so I did go to the Apple Store, and because I was looking to get an iPhone. Our friend Alejandro had an iPhone 6 that he was looking to sell, so they could get a 6 Plus. So I went to the Apple Store, and I hold them both in my hand. I'm like, iPhone 6, 6 Plus. And then, the reason why I went with the 6 was because I thought maybe it's time for me to have a one-handed device. Well, actually, still with the 6, using it as a one-handed device is still kind of tough to a point because some things I'll do, and I'll go to reach something in the top left corner, and all of a sudden, you tilt it the wrong way, and the screen goes from portrait to landscape, and you're not touching what it is that you wanted to tap on. So now I was thinking, maybe I should have went with the 6 Plus, but you go with the 6 Plus and you get the improved battery life, and
that's the big reason for me as to why I choose those devices. Because my phone could last potentially a day and a half, and that's me using it. Hard like I do every day.
And the same with the Note 4, and the same with the iPhone 6 Plus. You're going to get crazy battery life compared to the iPhone 6.
Right.
And battery life is very important.
Right. And my fiance has the iPhone 6, and she's constantly running out of battery. It's not a knock on iPhone at all.
No. I get it. I think, though, in this day and age, with all of us having had cell phones, especially smartphones, the way we have them for like the last, 7, 8 solid years now.
Yeah.
They've just gotten better over that time. But like since about 2007, 8, when the first like real touchscreen smartphones started to like show up on a day-to-day basis, I think we've all gotten to the point that we understand that battery life is very important, and that we all just have like 40 different charger cables ready to go at all times in every car, every part of the house. Like I don't know if battery life is so the focus anymore. But then again, with you brought up Elon Musk, right, Brad? Right? Elon Musk, smart guy. This is the guy that could turn around and probably create a battery for for any cell phone platform that could last 3 to 4 days off of one charge.
It's coming.
He could do it, and it wouldn't be surprising to me. And I mean, when they go into this idea of like the type of cell phone battery that they should make. They should literally come with the idea that people are going to watch full movies on Netflix, stream full video all the time, constantly tax the hell out of the battery, and then they'll have the right battery.
Yep.
Because that's literally what people are doing.
Yeah, that's I did watch a Netflix movie on my 1520 the other night, and it drained the battery obviously because depending on your screen brightness as well. But using it constantly.
Wait a second. Were you at home when this happened?
Yeah.
Why didn't you just put it on the TV, man?
Because I was just laying.
Get yourself some popcorn, a Miller Lite, a Coors Light, something.
Stag. No, actually, I was laying in bed. I was looking through, some social media as I was laying in bed because I was
you really just say
planning to go to bed, and I thought,
Stag?
No, I don't drink that stuff.
Oh, okay.
Stag, PBR, no, not my style. So, now just sitting there, and I thought, maybe I'll just go ahead and see if there's something on Netflix in my queue that I've been wanting to watch, and I found the Iron Sheik documentary, which if you have not seen it, I highly recommend it.
I have not seen it, even though I have a background in wrestling. I should totally check it out.
It was phenomenal. So I watched that, and
he's a character.
I finally went to bed. Oh yeah, he is.
Oh, he's a character. And he's very brutally honest about everything. He doesn't mix words at all.
No, he don't.
And that's from when I met him face to face. He doesn't mix words.
But no, that's one nice thing about the large displays. You can actually watch something and enjoy it on your mobile device. So that and battery life.
Yep, that'd be the number one for me is the battery life. Absolutely.
For me, it's just communication device. I mean, literally, I use it mostly for on-the-go emails, texts.
Yeah, that's the other thing.
I might try some of that Periscope stuff, but that's about it.
I kind of tweeted out about this maybe a couple weeks back, but I think it's kind of silly, even to Kevin's point, I think it's kind of silly to have a one-handed device anymore because I feel like I'm more productive if I have a bigger two-handed device. So I'm going to do things two-handed anyways, and if the device is smaller, it makes it more cramped and maybe harder to type on or faster, But if I feel like if I have just a little bit bigger device, I can type faster and I don't feel so cramped.
Yeah, I still use the iPhone 6 as a two-handed device. I rarely use it just one-handed.
Oh, okay.
So, should have went with the 6 Plus.
That's what I thought, but I feel like the 6 Plus is perfect because it's 5.5. The 6-inch, I will admit, it is a little cumbersome sometimes.
It can be a little extreme.
I will admit it, and I enjoy it, but if it was just a hair smaller...
If the 1520 didn't have those sharp corners digging into your palm...
I don't have that problem because I have my Nokia case on it, so I guess I don't feel that as much.
Yeah, that makes those a little bit more rounded.
Yeah. But yeah, so
Brad, I'm going to go ahead and save this Apple story for Wednesday, just due to time, and I'll go ahead and let you throw in your Xbox One story here at the end.
Yeah, so real quick, Xbox One system update coming out today, and it's going to add voice messages, which we've had on the Xbox 360 almost since, I want to say since launch, but they're adding it back to the Xbox One, but the cool thing is you will be able to cross-platform your voice chat, or not voice chat, your voice messages from Xbox One to 360. Very cool stuff. Also, you can power on and off your Xbox with your Smart Glass app on any of your mobile devices. And dedicated servers for party chat will be coming very, very soon. They're kind of scaling them in, so they'll slowly start trickling down as they ramp up for that. But that is coming still. And that's pretty much it for this system update.
Okay.
Why the Xbox versus the PlayStation 4? Why did you go Xbox One via that?
Well, as most people know, I'm a Windows guy. It works well with all my stuff. They communicate very well together. Number two, I don't know if many people keep up with this, but the Xbox gets updates, every month. They don't wait around. They don't, try to gather it all in one big update. They do it every month. They're constantly reiterating on their software, and I really like that they support, you know, the Xbox so readily. So you just know every month something new's coming out, something cool is coming out, and they're trying to add features and.
Well, Sony has to because they get hacked all the time.
Yeah.
They always got updates.
Yeah, but I mean that'd be one reason. The other reason would be, you know, I'm more of a, I guess, Halo and Gears of War kind of guy versus a, let's say, God of War, or I'm not too big on their exclusivities. I don't really know what they
Gran Turismo and.
Well, right. So I'm more of a Forza than a Gran Turismo guy.
Which is funny. Did they come out with a new Gran Turismo for 3 or 4?
Yes.
Three did. I don't think 4.
4 just came out.
Oh, it did just come out? Okay.
Gran Turismo.
Because I remember when Gran Turismo 1 came out, and it was a huge deal.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, 1 or 2.
I will say, for us baseball fans like me and Kevin, the PS4 probably has hands down the best baseball game out there currently, and that would be the show. And I'm a little jealous of that, but I can look past that because I don't really play too many sports games as it is. So actually, I don't play any. But I mean, if I had a baseball game, I think I would, you know, give it a shot, or at least play it a little.
Yeah, the show's a definite reason to have a PS4 if you're into baseball.
Right, and I mean,
or hockey, because I play NHL 2K.
Yeah.
Yeah, and actually, a buddy of mine at work.
Probably all the sports games are probably better on PS3 or PS4 as opposed to Xbox One. For the most part, I won't say always.
Yeah, I'd say for the most part, you could almost gear that towards. I mean, the Xbox has kind of become the shooter console in a way.
Yeah, a multiplayer game console.
Right, and a lot of people like maybe, you know, fall in that category, but there's a lot that fall in another category, which are more like the RPGs in your sports, and that's kind of more of a PS4 thing.
Yeah, I really like the Uncharted series on PlayStation.
Oh, there you go. Uncharted's a good.
Fabulous.
Well, I'm just gonna let you guys know that I rock that Wii U. You know what I'm saying? Mario Kart 8. I get down.
I'd love to play.
I hurt people bad on that game.
I really enjoy Super Smash Brothers Wii U. I really rock on that.
Smash, but I've never been a Smash Brothers fan, just because I think I'm just a purist when it comes to Street Fighter. Like that's where I'm a purist, and I don't want all the goofiness. I didn't want, what was it, a few years ago? Well, this was at least 20 years ago almost now at this point. The one with the dinosaurs that fought?
Rage.
Rage, or any of that. Like, I don't want any.
Primal Rage, yeah.
Primal Rage. I don't want none of that. I don't want any of that stuff. I like the Double Dragons. I want Mortal Kombat. I'll keep Street Fighter. Beyond that, I don't need Smash Brothers. Now, Mario Kart, I'm down. Like, you know what? Racing game-wise, I'm cool. Because before that, it was just pole position, and that was kind of boring. So.
I guess I kind of drew towards Super Smash Brothers because I've never been good at other fighting games. So this was kind of a more... It was an easy way to gear a fighting game towards, let's say, you know, when they first came out, I was probably like 12 or something.
I feel like Brad was that kid who had the Clay Fighter series, and he told everybody how awesome it was.
Clay Fighter 64.
Clay Fighter.
Yeah. You remember Clay Fighters?
No.
Yeah.
It's one thing I don't remember.
Wow.
Or Killer Instinct on Nintendo 64.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, their Killer Instinct actually is on the Xbox One now, so they revamped that, and they have a season 2 coming out.
Oh, I forgot. That's the one with the lava guy that would fight.
Yes. Yeah, it was actually pretty good. Pretty good stuff. All right. Well, that pretty much wraps up our news segments, and we'll go ahead and hit our app and entertainment picks. Brad, surprisingly, you don't really have anything in there unless this has not reached.
Yeah, today I just couldn't think of anything off the top of my head.
All right, so we'll go ahead and throw a few things out there. Thankfully, I put some stuff in there for a change. So we've talked about X-Files going to be making its return to television, and now there's an official date that it's actually going to return to Fox Television, January 24th, 2016. Now, that's going to be playing right after the NFC Championship game. So it's a 6-episode run with a 2-night premiere.
Wow.
And its regular time period will be Mondays at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. So 7 p.m. here in the Central. So if you are an X-Files fan, you now have something to look forward to mark on your calendar. January 24th.
Look forward to as long as it's good, right?
I don't think it'll be too bad. So,
I hope not. I think that series deserves a little bit more life.
Yeah, so this gives me a chance. I've got plenty of time to binge watch and catch up.
There you go.
So, because for some reason I am really bad about this. I don't watch these awesome shows during their run. Typically, usually I'll catch them right after they finish.
Like Breaking Bad.
Maybe I need to, like Breaking Bad or Better Call Saul. It's like, hey, I didn't watch an episode until after Better Call Saul, ended.
Mm-hmm.
Strange. Sons of Anarchy was the only show I think that I actually picked up during its run and binge watched to catch up so I could watch every
Greatest
episode.
show of all time. Sorry. Sons of Anarchy, by far. Greatest show of all time.
You got the Blu-ray set right over there.
There's no way. There's no way. Like, first off, Kurt Sutter is just an amazing writer. And
Yes.
I haven't found another show. Get me wrong. You're wearing a House of Targaryen shirt right there. I love Game of Thrones. But literally, on a week-to-week, day-to-day basis, I will take Sons of Anarchy over every other show, including I was a huge Justified fan. I liked Breaking Bad. But just what I got out of Sons of Anarchy on a week-to-week and day-to-day basis, just amazing. Just a great show. Always threw me for a loop. You could have been the most die-hard Sons of Anarchy fan, known everything about that show, and I guarantee you Sutter threw you for a loop at least twice. At least twice in that entire show run, you, the die-hard fan who thinks you got it all figured out, got thrown for a loop completely.
Yeah, there were numerous times that, we would have watch parties. I'd go over to my neighbor's house and we just watch, 3 or 4 of us. We'd all, at the end of the episode, I'd be like, what just happened?
See, and I was never a part of any watch. Like, I want to be a part of a grouping of people that like the same. I'm always watching these shows by myself.
Well, that's what happens to me.
If I would have known you had parties for this, I would have shown up, brought great things for us to eat and drink, and we would have sat there and had conversations. Because I literally would talk to myself in a mirror on these things, trying to figure them out in my head.
Right.
Yeah, it changes the whole experience, and it's what's bad is, like I was saying, I don't get into these shows until until they're over, and that takes away from the whole. Like you said, I would love to watch more and more shows live, and with the group of people, just because of that whole aspect. It was really fun to do that with Sons of Anarchy for the season and a half, I guess, that we actually did that. So that was fun. It changed the whole experience by doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
All right, so the next thing, podcast pick, Today in iOS. Now, just simply search for Today in iOS, and if you're a fan of iPhone, Apple Watch, iPad, macOS, a lot of great information here on Today in iOS.
Can I give you a pick?
Yeah.
That podcast that you all should check out. Unbelievable. We've had him on the show before. We even do a little section of our show every once in a while that's kind of a throwback to him. His name's Jensen Karp. He's got a show called Get Up on This. It's on it's on Wolf Pop. It's on the Wolf Pop network now. It used to be on Kevin Smith's Smodcast network. It's called Get Up on This. Basically, what you're doing right now, he does it every single week. They have 2 picks from him, 2 picks from a guest that comes in on the show, and it's usually somebody famous or well-known, a comedian or whatever, and then another pick from his co-host, Matt Robinson. It's an amazing show. There's always something I learn about on that show, something new that's on the cutting edge that you need to check out. It's called Get Up on This. Really good stuff. And they've got tons of episodes. I've listened to I actually caught them deep into their run and had to go back and listen to every episode up to 100 and whatever it was.
They're at 190 right now.
Yeah, I was going to say, I started at 120 and then went back while listening to the ones that were coming out new from 120 on and still caught up back to 120. The show's that dope.
I'm trying to do that with Star Talk Radio.
What is Star Talk?
So that's Neil deGrasse Tyson and and Bill Nye. And that's their.
I just want to let you guys know there's stars in the sky. What do you think, Neil? That's right. There's stars in the sky, Bill. Good job. All right.
Star stuff
for this week.
We're made of star stuff.
We got star stuff in us. Yeah, I get it.
Okay.
All right, and the last pick is a movie. It's actually another documentary, and it's available to stream on Netflix called Atari Game Over. And this is about
Loved it.
I loved it.
All about the whole E.T. and how they had 5 weeks to come out with this to make it for the holiday season. They did it. It sold awesome, and then it got critically panned because everybody started bringing the games back. So There was rumors that Atari dumped all these cartridges in a New Mexico landfill, and this is kind of like the story of how they went and actually found and located all these cartridges and
I
other
don't
stuff.
think that I've run into a documentary about video gaming or the video gaming industry that hasn't been solid. On a scale of 1 to 10, at least a 7 every time.
Yeah.
Chasing Ghosts, King of Kong, the Atari movie that we were just talking about, like, it doesn't matter what the movie is. They always seem to, like, swing well. You know what else is great, too, for everybody out there? Check out those ESPN 30 for 30 docs. They really are unique. They are very interesting about the different sports athletes and about the different things that they talk about.
Yeah, those are a good series. Yeah, this was a really great documentary. I mean, they talked to the guy that developed it. I cannot remember his name off the top of my head.
Yeah, it's escaping me.
Oh, you're talking about Nolan Bushnell, right?
No, that's one of the founders or who's
of Atari, yeah.
Yeah, but the guy that developed who was
E.T.
Yeah, who was in charge of coming up with E.T. actually did Raiders of the Lost Ark, Yar's Revenge. But yeah, it was fun, and he's not even a developer. He's like a psychotherapist. Or
now he's
like
switch gears.
Yeah, it's
Howard Warshaw. Warshaw.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, just an amazing watch, and it's not very long. It's only about an hour, maybe a little over.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's not too long, and I would recommend it. Anybody who just remotely was in or around the Atari days, it's definitely worth a watch.
Okay. Yeah, definitely. All right, and before we get out of here, Mark, I know we haven't given you much of a chance to talk about what it is you got going on. Just real quickly give...
Well, you're not supposed to talk about what I got going on because this is your show. We're supposed to talk about tech stuff. So,
yeah,
but now, I do have a website. Check it out. It's theqnow.com, TheQNOW.com. You can listen to us every single Saturday morning, 8 to 10 a.m. in the Midwest on newstalk1420.com. That's where you hear the newest episodes of The Q with me and producer Bobby, and we're the equivalent, like we said on STL Tech Talk. We're like Howard Stern meets The Daily Show. That's kind of who we are and what we do.
Yeah, it's good stuff, people. Give it a check, and if you don't get the chance to listen to it live, find the podcast feed and add it to your podcast app. So it's good stuff. Really, really good stuff. And how can people find you on social media or something?
They can always go to at the Q Now. That's at TheQNOW.com. But the easiest way is if you go to theqnow.com, the website.
Yes.
Up in the corner, all of our social media, like all of our Facebook, all of our Twitter. Just click whichever logo you want. It'll take you right there. Friend us, like us, share us, tell people about us, all of it.
All right. Well, perfect. We do appreciate you stopping by. Loved having you on, and I'm glad I saw that you posted that AOL story. On
a scale of 1 to 10, I feel like my being on your show today was a solid 5.375.
Yes.
Like I think that it could have been a 6, but I'm just not like right there, but not quite 5.3. I need that 3.75. Oh yeah, this is my son Reed. He decided to join us here for the last second.
Right.
Say hi to everybody.
Another guest. I read.
Can you say hi?
Hi.
Love it.
Well, thank you so much, guys, for having me. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thanks, Mark.
Yep.
So that pretty much wraps up this episode. People can find me. My name, again, is Kevin Harvell. You can find me on Twitter, at Kevin Harvell. You can find Brad on Twitter as well, at holy_shadows. And again, like we mentioned before, if you would like to send us feedback, comments, suggestions, anything, email them to contact@thetechinformist.com, or leave us a comment on YouTube or Twitter or Facebook, Google+, or just wherever you would like to do that, and we do appreciate it. So that pretty much does it. Brad, you got anything else to throw in there?
No, I'll be sharing some information about game-related things next Monday, because next Tuesday is going to be a big game day.
Okay.
What's coming out on next Tuesday?
Oh, you'll have to tune in and find out.
Oh, teaser.
Look at that, teasing it.
Okay. All right. That pretty much does it for this episode, and until next time, consider yourself informed. We are out.